Thank you, President Suda, for your hospitality, for inviting AGU, EGU, and AOGS to help celebrate this wonderful anniversary for JpGU. JpGU has become a leader in geoscience, and as we reflect and celebrate your 25th anniversary, I want to congratulate you for your many successes and your work to shape the future of geoscience, not only in Japan, but around the world. And we're delighted to be here with the rest of the group, and we look forward to our discussions later on. As you celebrate JpGU's past and look to your future, I'd like to share with you a little contrast to the early history of AGU. We were founded nearly 100 years ago by two geophysics groups that joined forces to create a new organization to represent the work of American scientists in geophysics. And at first, unlike today, membership was very limited and it was very closed. None of us would think about having a society like that today. And how many in the room have been to an AGU fall meeting in maybe the last 3 or 4 years? Okay. We heard that the first JpGU meeting was 1,000 people. The first AGU meeting was 25. A big change over the last few years as the AGU fall meeting has reached almost 25,000 scientists and other participants in San Francisco each year, with more than 25% of those from outside of the US. This photo shows the AGU headquarters in Washington, D.C., and the building was actually designed and architecturally designed to reflect many of the aspects of our science. And I hope that sometime you'll be able to visit the AGU headquarters as well as just come to our fall meeting. So I'd like to talk a little bit about AGU in the context of international collaboration and this theme of Geoscience Ahead, Geoscience in the Future. The AGU mission in the center there is to promote discovery in earth and space science for the benefit of humanity. And you'll notice how similar all of our societies are in emphasizing that what we do is really for the benefit of society, for the benefit of the public. This mission complements our vision, and our vision is a global community of earth and space scientists working together to advance our science and ensure a sustainable future for all. So our vision has been the kind of collaboration that you're hearing about today and that you see emphasized by all of the societies. In order to meet this vision, we developed a roadmap, a strategic plan that has 4 elements. And the first of those, up here on the right, is science and society. And while all of our geoscience societies have this focus on science and society, I think back to my early days. I recently celebrated my 40th year as an AGU member. And when I started, there wasn't much emphasis on this, except in the sense that, well, seismology was looking at earthquakes, and earthquakes were a hazard. But our real emphasis in those days was on the science itself, and not so much the context of the science in society and the demands on geosciences. And I think that's been an incredible evolution over the history of AGU, over the history of JpGU, EGU, AOGS. As scientists, we know how powerful our science is to address problems of society, and yet policymakers, decision makers, funders, and the public have a hard time understanding some of that. For example, if we say that we saw a talk on the speed of sound in minerals associated with the mantle of the Earth, it might not be apparent to the public that that had to do with seismology, with what we felt yesterday in that 5.4 earthquake. We know that, but they don't know it. And so this implies a responsibility to communicate to the public, and you've heard that echoed in several of the presentations today, to improve scientists' ability to communicate and to engage with different audiences, and to increase our effectiveness and our recognition with policy leaders, thought leaders, and so forth. I was struck this morning in that wonderful session between NASA and JAXA on satellite developments that Terry Nakajima talked about how important it was that the scientific community communicate to funders in Japan the importance of the Japanese satellite work, because it was threatened with a decrease in funding. And when the community effectively talked about the role that the satellites played, not only here in Japan but around the world, that they were willing, or that they were able to communicate that more effectively, and that we all have that responsibility. The second element is organizational excellence, and I think this is reflects another demand that we're seeing from the scientific community, and that is a demand that our scientific societies provide them with more services, not just meetings, not just presentations, but the ability to have outreach, and we've heard that as a theme in all of the presentations. Career services for young scientists, information for students on how to publish, how to communicate effectively. So we have to ensure that we have the best, most inclusive, most transparent, and sustainable organizations to do that. And at AGU, we want to engage and be responsive to our members, to enhance the diversity and the inclusiveness of our organization itself, as well as of our science, and to build, of course, a solid financial footing that allows all of this to take place. The third theme is talent pool. And you heard a bit about that today too, that this is another incredible need for us to be able to draw on the resources of all of the sciences and all of the people that can come to join us to work on science in benefit of society. So we want to empower students to be active participants in our community, to support underrepresented populations so they can contribute to our field, and to support and provide ongoing opportunities for scientists in the developing world to be able to join us in this work. And I'm delighted to see that the session after this on Geoscience Ahead is from the early career scientists here in Japan. Certainly at the time that I started in AGU, a major union session like this would have not been, the theme talks on the science itself would have come from people with gray hair rather than the early career scientists. I think it's a wonderful development. And while all of our efforts as an organization are important, the heart of the reason that we're here today has to do with collaboration, and AGU's desire not to just be excellent for our members, but to be a sought-after partner and collaborator with other geoscience organizations, and to together with them build the opportunities for innovation, for scientific excellence, for broad interdisciplinary focus, to be able to build the partnerships that allow us to address the kinds of scientific challenges that you heard about from the previous speakers. Last night at dinner, I was struck by, and let me just back up and say that I think that one of the real messages is the shared vision of the importance of the science, the shared values that we have. Last night at dinner, I was with 3 colleagues from Japan. One of them, and the discussion ranged around a number of topics, but first it focused on scientific discovery. And my first colleague was an astrobiologist, and we were talking about the exciting science that was going on, the opportunities to look for life and other planets and in the cosmos, and things that never would have been possible 10, 20 years ago. So that shared value of scientific excellence, the ambition to understand the world and the universe. The second topic that we touched on came from one of the other members of our table who had spent a lot of his career in the scientific drilling program, DSDP, ODP, IODP. And another great example of collaboration, organizations across the world joining forces, joining financial forces to be able to provide a resource to our geoscience community that none of us could have supported on our own. So that shared value of collaboration, shared data, and shared capability. And finally, my third colleague was a seismologist who said he was going to have to go home to do homework after the dinner because of the earthquake yesterday and his role and responsibility in communicating about that earthquake. And that highlighted that other shared value of advancing our science for the benefit of humanity. So some of these goals sound very ambitious, and yet certainly AGU as an organization feels that they're not only worth taking on, but that we have the capability of taking them on. AGU represents nearly 60,000 members from 139 countries. 40% of our membership is from outside of the US, and it represents every discipline of earth and space science. And like the other organizations, we have a number of sections and focus groups that help our scientists find their community within this very large organization. But partnering gives us even greater capacity. And with this distribution, we have the ability to partner around the world. So in December of 2013, AGU adopted a statement to affirm and convey our commitment to international partnerships worldwide with scientists and with scientific organizations, focused on fostering collaboration, creating opportunities, connecting, engaging, and exchanging capabilities and disseminating science within and outside of the scientific community. So that's really, those 4 areas are the focus of AGU, and I think you can see how they're shared by the other organizations that are here today. Now I'd like to focus on a few specific AGU activities and how they include international collaboration and these shared values. Like EGU, AGU publishes a wide variety of scientific publications. We have 19 peer-reviewed journals spanning all the major disciplines of earth and space science. These journals are highly respected. For example, Geophysical Research Letters and JGR Atmospheres are ranked among the top 10 most highly cited research publications on climate change over the last decade. But authors and readers of scientific journals are demanding much more, and Geoscience Ahead, as we think about it, has challenged scientific societies on the issue of open access. So like others, we've recently taken steps to try to address and provide more opportunities for open access. Our 2 newest journals, Earth's Future and Earth and Space Science, are fully open access. We've also taken steps to increase and improve our publishing performance for our authors. So right now, it takes only 22 days from acceptance of an article in an AGU journal to its publication. For GRL, it takes only 15 days. And of course, all are online within 3 days. And this is especially important to our international collaborators. In 2011, only 4 years ago, about half of the users of AGU journal articles were from outside of the US. Last year, only 3 years later, 2/3 of the users of our articles were from outside of the US. And so that, and much of that increase was here in Asia. Asia increased from 15% of our usage to 22% of our usage. And so it's important to our readers to be able to get at that information quickly and to be able to access it. We've begun offering 24-month rolling open access for the journals that aren't yet open access, and AGU also participates in Research for Life, which provides developing countries free access to online content. So what is this community that's part of AGU? As I mentioned, 40% of our members are international. Japan is the country with the second highest number of members after the US. Our members represent everyone from undergraduate students to local and federal government employees, not only in the US, but around the world, to for-profit companies, nonprofit organizations, and of course to the scientific luminaries that we all respect and admire so much. More than 20% of our members are students, and we value and include these students and our early career members in our governance. They have elected seats on the AGU Scientific Council as well as on our board of directors. We're increasingly diverse in all aspects: age, country of residence, gender, and the fields we study. Although our membership is 60,000, AGU touches far more. People participate in AGU through attending meetings. Between the fall meeting, the Ocean Sciences meeting, the Joint Assembly, our Chapman conferences, we're serving about 30,000 people a year in meetings. More than 50,000 participate as authors of AGU articles. You don't have to be a member to publish in our journals, and serve as editors or peer reviewers for those journals. Many serve as members of our committee structure, our meetings committee, honors and recognition, and most importantly for this group, our Committee on International Participation. We also have task forces like the one that recently undertook the challenge of compiling a report on scientific trends in the geosciences based on survey data, not only from AGU and its members, but from other organizations like JpGU, EGU, and AOGS. Another task force assisted us in thinking about our newsletter, EOS, and how to use it, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes. Finally, many follow us on social media, about 64,000 Facebook followers and 30,000 Twitter followers. So all in all, over 300,000 people worldwide contribute or touch AGU either as members or as contributors or followers or users of our website. We've talked in this meeting about the importance of communication, and while scientific research is at our core, communicating that research to the public through traditional media as well as social media is key to growing public awareness and knowledge of the importance of our science. The fall meeting is well known as a place to break scientific news. Each year there are more than 20 press conferences at the fall meeting, and last year there were over 4,000 media mentions of the meeting worldwide. including how research is helping to improve tsunami warnings, stories about the comet satellite, Rosetta, how radar and satellite measurements are showing that changes in Greenland are speeding up its melting. But science news comes out of AGU all the time, and that's reported on our website and through other media releases. This was in one of the blogs, reads, "Academic papers aren't enough. Give people basic risky information," says a hazard expert. And I think it underlies that demand from us, not only to communicate with each other, but to communicate with the public. So I mentioned EOS, and for those of you that have been members of AGU, you know that you used to get a weekly printed newspaper, EOS. And after decades of publishing that for our membership only, we decided that it was time that EOS also had to serve the public as an interactive and engaging way to get information about geoscience. So this year we launched a new website, eos.org, and are no longer publishing the weekly newsletter. The website publishes all the news as it happens. So yesterday's earthquake, it was already on the website, and still supports the in-depth coverage of our field and news of our field, not just scientific research, but news of meetings like this and other activities that you've come to expect from EOS. It provides that content in a visually appealing way that we hope is going to draw more people from our neighboring fields and from the public. In addition to the website, we also created a new print magazine, EOS, that is only available to AGU members. It's available as a download, a PDF, and what you see here on the right is the June 1st issue, so that's what's coming out on Friday, and focuses on the Nepal earthquake. For those of you that are international members of AGU, you can request to have a copy mailed to you, and we hope that this is going to be a new way not only to talk with each other, but also to engage a larger audience. The last activity that I want to talk to you about is what's called the Thriving Earth Exchange, or TEX. A couple of years ago, we asked our scientific council to think about what AGU should be doing to celebrate its upcoming 100th anniversary in a couple of years. We asked them to give us a grand challenge, something that AGU could take on to really make a difference. And they suggested the idea of the Thriving Earth Exchange. It is an activity that builds collaborative relationships between community leaders who need solutions to real problems that are facing their communities, scientists who have answers to those questions, and sponsors, financial sponsors and other sponsors who can help with this process. So TEX helps these three groups design and implement local solutions. And our ultimate goal is to bring people together to create a lasting difference for the planet and for society. While we have rolled this network out in the US, we expect that with our 40% international members, we're going to be able to expand its reach internationally as well. So these are the logos of some of the organizations that we have formal relationships with, and they all assist us in meeting our strategic goal of being a leader, a collaborator, a convener, and a sought-after partner for scientific excellence, innovation, and an interdisciplinary focus. Our relationship with JpGU is a great example. You heard earlier today that beginning with this meeting, our MOU with JpGU is going to result in a partnership for the next 2 years. Our fall meeting will have joint sessions between JpGU and AGU. Next spring's JpGU meeting will have joint sessions between the sponsored by the two organizations and co-convened. And this will culminate in 2017, where we host a fully joint meeting here in Japan that will include not only our familiar disciplines, but the interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary sciences too. And our mutual goal is to have 7,000 to 9,000 attendees from around the globe. So that's an example of what we can do together. We also work with AOGS and EGU as well. So finally, I'd like to use this last few minutes to again congratulate JpGU on an incredible 25 years of contributing to geoscience discovery, geoscience collaboration, and geoscience work on behalf of society. Thank you so much.